Hi, and welcome to what was known as Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that name or not. I'm probably going to change it to Pittman's Garden Patch, and only the reason why I'm doing that is because I am growing so many different things this year, and this is my second video of the year. I've done a lot of other research and things prior to the actual project getting underway, so let me kind of give you an update as to where I'm at. Last video you saw the compost being dumped off and everything, and then I also went through some of the products and things that I'm using. So let me show you some of the other things here. When I'm growing strawberries here and here, and you can see how the white blossoms already blooming and everything, and they've been doing that for quite some time. Even back in the wintertime they were still blooming. Strange but true. Over here, not doing so great, but I'm hoping now with the season getting warmer things are going to take off a little bit more in this bed here. I have some spinach that I'm trying for the first time. A lot of things I'm trying for the first time. Some spinach here and spinach there, and some broccoli and cabbage and things are all spread out throughout this particular bed here. And I did put a couple spinach right there in that gap next in between those two strawberry plants. I put some spinach in there, and they've sprouted up a little bit since it's gotten warmer. So we'll see how all of that goes. Okay, so and then in the fall and winter time, well actually late summer, about maybe late August or so, I'm going to be taking out these strawberries because they'll be done, and then I'm going to start putting in the kale and spinach and the broccoli and the cabbages, and all that stuff's going to go back in for the fall garden. So this now is going to become a garden year round. Okay, I'm not just doing pumpkins, though I will still be doing pumpkins, but I'm growing so much more this year, and I'm just getting started. Like I said, this is going to be a year-round garden. So come, like I said, late August, strawberries will go out, and I'll be putting in red Russian kale and dinosaur kale and spinach, cabbage, broccoli, things like that in the brassica family. So I'll be doing that, and that's going to be going in this raised bed here, this one here, and this one over here. And this is going to be primarily my fall/winter garden area for feeding off of. And all of these beds here have are compost, vermiculite, and not cocoa peat, but you could use that, peat moss, mixed all together, along with let me see, what else did I put in there? Rock dust from the azomite and the accelerite, which is another variety of rock dust, which covers all my minerals and trace minerals. I have worm castings in there. I have California humus in there. And I probably have a couple other things I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but it's all mixed together in there, and it's supposed to be really great for the soil, and it's going to supposedly make the plants healthier, stronger, and better tasting, and grow better. And it's all organic. Everything is organic that I'm doing. Okay, so that's how that's going now. I also put in the strawberry beds. I lowered the pH by putting in a special fertilizer that's for acidic plants like strawberries, and I did the same for my blueberries, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Now, I have a soil tester, so I need to test the soil here too to see how low it's gotten since I put that stuff in. And when it comes time for me to put in the brassica families back into these strawberry patches, I got to see if I need to raise the pH level by adding lime or something like that to it, or whether I'm still going to be okay. We'll see. So on to my other plants here. And so here are the blueberry plants that I have here. These 6 right here are my blueberry plants. I have different varieties. I have sunshine blue, and that's that first one right here, and that's a dwarf, only grows to about 3 or 4 feet tall. And I have Jewel, a Biloxi, a couple sweethearts, which was supposedly going to give you a spring harvest and a fall harvest. So that's going to be unique for that varieties. But I wanted to kind of show you a little bit on this blueberry plant here. You can already see, it's hard for me to see with all the sunshine here, so I'm not sure how good of a shot I'm getting, but you can see all these blueberry buds that are on the ends here, all these flowers, which will then become the blueberries. So they're already getting their bluish pinkish color, and they're starting to get ready to pop here in the next few weeks, I think. And some of these leaves never even fell off completely during the winter season. So but these are specifically these strawberry plants are specifically southern high bush, so they'll grow in this area here in Virginia near the Atlantic Ocean and everything. So like I said, a lot of research went into finding the right ones, and so some of these are just beginning to they look very bare, but you can if you're looking closely, you can see some of the buds on there, and they'll be popping in the next few weeks or so, and they're starting to a little bit. This one over here, you can see this one right here that just has some of the leaves on it that are going, but not quite the flowering. But right here on this one here, you can see some of the leaf buds have opened up some and starting to pop out a little bit. Hope that comes through on the camera. It's a little hard to tell out here in this bright sunshine. Alright, so I had these blueberries here, and so this is my first time for that. One thing I did want to mention, what you see me growing these things in, these black pots here, these are fabric pots, okay? Alright, these are called smart pots, and that's just one brand name of fabric pots. There's different others out here. I went with the smart pots, and these are very unique pots. They're what you call self-aerating. They are made out of fabric, so the air can pass in and out and everything, get to the root zone to help your plant stay oxygenated. They are air pruning. They have what's called air pruning, which is when the roots of the plant hit the side of the fabric, they kind of stick into it, and they get stuck in there. And instead of spinning round and round like they would in a plastic nursery pot or a clay pot and get root bound, which is not good for your plants, they stick into the side of the fabric pot, and then it forces those roots to send out feeder roots, little small finger roots that goes back into the soil, and thus keep the plant from getting root bound, and continues the growing of the root ball mass, which you want. The bigger the better. So this is going to help with that. It's it also drains very well, and allows the water to go through very easily. So things like the vermiculite in there are going to help absorb some of that water that goes through, to kind of hold on to it like a sponge, so it doesn't lose too much water and dry out all the time. So that's one thing the vermiculite's in there to help with. So now you also see that I have these fabric pots up on pallets, which I got for free. And the reason being is because this backyard is so badly is poor in drainage. I mean, horrible. It rains one little bit, and the ground is soft for 2, 3, 4, or 5 days before it's hard enough to really walk on without sinking in there. So I put these up on pallets to get them off the grounds, to cut down on the diseases and viruses and bacteria and things that the plants could get through the root system and whatnot. So let me take you on a tour of the rest of the place. You can see that I have over here, all along here, and all on the back fence there, I have blackberries that I've transplanted. And I've also, again, they're in the fabric pots. These are 30-gallon size fabric pots, by the way. Both the blueberries and the blackberries are in 30-gallon size. Those 3 big ones up there with the strawberries and the brassica families, the broccoli and so forth, spinach, those are 100-gallon size. Those are called big bag bed, and that's also from smartpots.com. And those are just awesome. And now that one up there that has the dwarf blueberry, and that's a 20-gallon, because that's only going to go to 3 to 4 feet tall. So I didn't feel the need for a 30-gallon one. So 20 gallons should be sufficient for that. And let me show you what I did with this trellis here. Show you how. And again, I learned all this stuff on YouTube and everything. But what I did was I drove these U-posts into the ground here. Okay. And I bought from, Home Depot. I bought some 1/8 inch diameter braided wire, uncoated, and I bought these thimble and clamp sets. And I didn't really use the thimbles. I didn't really need to, but I put the wires through and looped them back through and clamped them down. Okay. And down here, this right here is a turnbuckle, and it's hooked on here. You see the hook right here. It just hooks into this eye bolt that I put on here onto the post, and I hook the turnbuckle on here, and the other wire comes through this end and the clamps are there. And I turn this turnbuckle, and it tightens up your wire, making it nice and taut, so that it'll support these blackberries when these things are blooming and everything. Right now it's kind of loose a little bit, but it'll do the job. It'll hold. And this wire is rated at 340 pounds, so I shouldn't have an issue with that. Oh, got a blackberry cane that got on me. And I'm going to tie these blackberry canes up on these things right here on the wires. I'm going to tie them up there very gently so they just stay up there, and then I'm going to start wrapping them around as they grow longer and longer. You can see, like this one, you can sit there and just kind of wrap it around the wire here, or you can bring it down to the bottom one, bring the cane down to the bottom one and wrap it around there. And then if it continues to grow larger, then you can bring it back up to the top one again. So it's kind of going down, up, kind of pattern there. So that's what's going on with that. And I did the same over here. Then it made another trellis, a wire trellis for the blackberries on that side. Same thing. Turnbuckles, clamps, U-posts, ran the 1/8 inch diameter, uncoated, braided wire right through there. All this stuff I got at Home Depot, and it looks like it's going to work pretty good. Okay. Now, right here, this is one of my latest projects I've been working on for a little while here and there, but now that I've finished all my transplanting and everything, I have more time to devote to building these raised garden beds out of the free pallets that I got. So it's not going to look all pretty and gorgeous, and I'm not going to spend all this extra money and time staining them and everything. This was free wood. I'm only renting this place here, so I'm not going to invest big time into cedars and red cedar woods and everything and all that staining. It costs a lot more money, and like I said, I'm just renting the place, so it's not going to be a big deal to have to tear these things down or get rid of them a few years. If they get me 4 or 5 years out of them, I'll be happy. But again, I'm also going to put these up on pallets also to get it off of the ground. And I'm going to just line the bottom with a black fabric cloth or something like that, so it'll allow the water to drain through, but it'll be off the ground. I don't have to worry about anything. So I just kind of been, a lot of people recommend 4x4 posts in the corner. I just had some spare 2x4s because I've been ripping these pallets apart, and so I just using the 2x4s and putting them in there and screwing them in, everything. I put a 2x4 going cross beam here, and I should try to get one in here, but it's been a little bit difficult to get one in there, but I still may try. I'm leaving this end open on here for a very specific reason, and that's because when I come in with this big huge wheelbarrow, and you can do it with the standard size wheelbarrows as well, I wanted to be able to leave this end open so that I can come right through here and then dump all my soil, my compost and everything, all that stuff down there, and just keep on backfilling it all the way up to the edge. And then I'm going to put the end boards on up here and close it all in. And this is also where I'm going to be building my trellis in here. And I'm going to be growing things like squash and zucchinis and cucumbers. And of course my pumpkins. I got to grow my pumpkins. So I'm going to be putting all that stuff into raised beds like this. And I'm getting ready to start building on a second one over there. I'll see on the trampoline over there. I've already started stripping some of the boards off, the 2x4s. So I'm going to continue to get back to that as soon as I'm done with this video here. And inside the house, and through that window right there, I have a grow light that I bought, and I have a lot of different seeds going on in there, growing in there right now. I have a few plants of sweet basil that I've been growing. I have my tomato starts already growing in there, been growing for a little while. I have a couple bell peppers growing in there, and I have I think a cabbage plant still growing and things like that. But one of the main things I'm doing differently this year is I'm growing flowers, and then I'm going to be putting into these raised garden beds intermittently between all the cucumbers and the pumpkins and the squash and zucchinis and everything. And I'm also growing watermelons. That's another thing I'm going to try this year too, is a little bit of watermelons. But I'm growing these certain kinds of flowers because I've been doing research on things, and again, everything's being organic, so I'm using flowers that are said, or the research shows is proven to keep out certain bad bugs out of the garden, whether they're squash vine borer moth, or at least the moths, which a squash vine borer moth is, and hoping that it'll work, and keep out the cucumber beetles and keep out the squash bugs and things. Now last year, at my old place, when I just put out the marigolds ahead of time before the pumpkin plants got growing, that did a super job. I was very impressed with how the marigolds kept out the squash bugs out of my pumpkin patch last year. I did not have one squash bug or squash bug egg on my plants at all, and that was because of those marigolds. The previous years, squash bugs destroyed and squash vine borers, they destroyed my pumpkin patch. So I have marigolds planted in there, different varieties this year, instead of just your standard orange and yellows, which did a fabulous job. But I planted a few more just for aesthetics, different varieties. I am also growing nasturtiums. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So I've heard it pronounced different ways. But I got some of the red ones. The blossoms are red, and it's called Empress of India. And I read where that actually attracts aphids, which is a bad bug. You don't want them. And so that can be used as a trap plant. You put these Empress of India nasturtiums over in a section away from all your vegetables and fruits and things that you're growing, and the aphids will go to those plants, to the red nasturtiums, and stay there and leave your vegetables alone. So that's what's considered a trap plant. Now, I also read that the orange variety of nasturtiums will actually repel your squash bugs and beetles and aphids and or things like that. So I have a bunch of those growing in peat pots, or at least they're starting to germinate and things like that. And another flower that I'm growing besides the marigolds and nasturtiums is the tansy, Tansy. Not many people know about that flower apparently, because I cannot find much research on it on the internet, but I did find a little bit. And so I ordered some tansy seeds, and I'm starting to grow those. And I found one place on there that'll sell you some tansy plants. A little pricey, so I still may get a few, depends on how these starts I got going inside do. But the tansy plant is supposed to keep out your moths which again, the squash vine borer moth is one in particular that I want to keep away. So I'm hoping the tansy will do that. Caution though with the tansy, you do have to be careful. Tansies are poisonous in that